Hi, and welcome to this overview of dealership software. Dealership software is a management system that enables your dealership, whether you're a motorcycle, a boat, a car, truck, caravan, RV, all sorts of different units. You could do generators, any sort of product that you might sell that you might want to keep as a unit that you need to manage, you need to buy, you need to maybe do some work on and then sell, maybe do a trade-in, that sort of thing. Dealership software will be suitable. It also, of course, handles all of your service department, handles the parts department as well, and integrates with your favorite accounting package. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run you through the process of how we're going to buy a vehicle or buy a unit, and then we're going to go and sell that, or we're going to do some work on it first, and then we're going to go and sell it. So let's go take a look. So first up, I'm going to go off and do a supplier invoice. So the first thing we need to choose in our supplier invoice is the supplier. And in this instance, we're going to choose Suzuki. So what I've got is I've actually set this up as a motorcycle dealer. As I said before, this could be any sort of dealer. But what we do is we put in the invoice number and we're going to type in acquisition, which is our acquisition product. Now, once you choose acquisition, what it will do is it will actually pop up our templates that we've already pre-configured. So I've actually gone and set up a number of templates for my particular dealership, and you can set up as many templates as you like. And we'll go and have a look at what these can do in just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Suzuki Boulevard, and I'm going to go in and choose select. Just by the way, I could go enter details and I could just enter in all the details of the acquisition itself. But in this case, I'm going to choose a template. So I'm going to choose this template and go select, and you'll see what happens here. So what happens is it chooses things like the group, the type, or the build date, all the information that I've already put in, the transmission, the petrol, all that sort of stuff. And you'll see that it's already got a sale description for that particular template as well. So what I can do is I can actually put in the acquisition price. So I'm going to go 12,075, and I'm going to put in a recommended retail price of 15,995, right? Now, the really cool thing here is that what we can do is we can actually update this quantity. So let's say I want to purchase 4 of them. So I then just click on this plus, and what you can see here is you can see that you got 2, 3, 4, right? So what you could do is, for example, the engine number or something like that might be different for each. You can go into each of these. These are actually, so just to show you what the difference is, that one's number 2, and I can go back to number 1 and number 2. So you can see that those are 2 different things, right? So they're actually 2 different tabs with 2 different, or in this case, 4 different vehicles that I'm acquiring all at once. I could acquire 10, I could acquire an unlimited number, basically, right? So it's really cool that you can go and acquire as many as you like. The other option here is the copy option. So let's say you filled all this out and you've gone, oh, I've already set up the 4 of them. You can just go copy, and it will copy those details to all of the other 4 or however many of those items that you have. So I go done. Right, and what that has done is it's now gone and updated those costs. So you can see here that we've bought $53,000 worth of product. We can now go process, and we want to process and save this invoice. And what it does is it goes and then processes it, and it's done. So it's a closed invoice. We now owe Suzuki $53,000. Now what we do is if we go into units and we go into see the unit list, what we're going to see is we're going to see those 4 units that we've just purchased, right? And they've each been allocated a stock number, for example. So I can go and pull up this particular unit and have a look at the details, and here's all the details of it and all that sort of stuff, right? Now, the other really cool thing that I can do is I can use the phone app to go and take photos and to upload those photos automatically as attachments here. So I'm going to go and do that, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, so now I've gone and actually I've pretended that I've gone and taken some photos with the iPhone app, but that's exactly what you could do. So you can take some photos with the app. I, of course, don't have that Suzuki motorcycle with me, so I've actually just gone and sourced those from the internet, but you can do that as well. So you can just go choose file and choose a file from your computer, right? And you can actually go and upload it. So you can do it that way, or you can use the app, and the app will automatically attach the photos, which is really cool. And by the way, it doesn't have to be photos either. It could be a document, it could be a spec sheet, it could be something like that. Now, the other cool things, once we've saved this, so we've just got to go and save, right? And then once we've saved, what we can do is we can move these pictures around. So if I wanted that one to be the first one, I can, and maybe I want to push that one sort of towards the end, and I don't really want it to be the first one, I want it to be the last one, I can do that as well. So if I go save, that's gone and saved that. Now, the really cool thing that that's done is now I can do what we call view page, right? So the view page, this is a page that we can actually send to a customer. customer. Okay, so what we've got here is you've got the different photos, right? So the customer can scroll through these photos and see the different photos, right? And they can go and look at that and that sort of stuff. So what you can do is, if we just go back into Workshop Software, I could SMS that page to them. So I can go send SMS, and you can type in the name and number, and you can maybe put a message in here as well. You can go and send an email with this as well. So you can go and set that email, put an email address in. You can go and put your own message in here. You can go and add a template as well. And by the way, you can set up a default message here as well. But you can send that off to a client if they want to have a look at that particular page. So just viewing the page, this is what it looks like. So this is a public page that you can send to any customer or any potential customer, that sort of thing, and they can get information on that actual vehicle, which is really cool. Okay, so what we're going to go and do now is we're going to go and jump into the service department or the workshop, and we're going to go and do a PD on this vehicle. So we're going to do a pre-delivery. So the easiest way to do that is up the top here, I can search for my stock number, which in this case is 30,000. I could search for it by make and model and all sorts of other methods, or even the customer. And I'm going to click this button here, which is create invoice or a job card. So I click on that. It opens up the job card, and what it's got here is the internal customer, the vehicle details. And if we scroll down, we can now put the products that we're going to do. What work are we going to do? What parts are we maybe going to sell onto this, that kind of thing. So in this instance, I've got a labor item set up called pre-delivery. So I'm going to put in pre-delivery, and we're going to do 2.5 hours of pre-delivery, let's say. Of course, you could add products on here. You could add all those sorts of things. You can save it. We turn it into a job card, and the mechanic would go and do the work. We'd come back and we'd go and process this job card. I'm going to circumnavigate that. If you're interested in finding out more about the workshop, there's a lot of information about that in other videos. So if you want to know how the service department operates, go for it. Jump into those other videos. But in this instance, I want to show you the internal transaction that's happened on that unit. So I'm going to go back to the unit list now, and if I go in here, you'll see that there's an internal invoice balance or a pre-delivery cost of $225, and the value of the acquisition is $12,075. So you can see the total cost of acquisition is actually $12,300. So it gives you that kind of information around how much you've actually spent on this vehicle, and you can work things out like profitability and so on. Okay, so the next step we're going to do is we're going to go and sell this vehicle, all right? So if we go into unit sale, what we can do is we can select an existing client, or we can click on the plus and add a new one if we like. I'm just going to find an existing client in here and go and sell it to one of our existing persons. Maybe a John might be in there. Let's sell it to John. And once we've done that, it actually then pops up and says, okay, what unit are you going to sell? Or units. You can sell multiple if you want. And so here is our stock list. I could search for a stock number if I wanted to, or I can just simply click on the one that I want to sell and go select. And then that goes and adds that particular vehicle onto my invoice. And you see here that it has a price. So if I want to I've done a deal with a client, I've made it say $14,000, I can change the price as well. So you can go and edit that. The other thing you can do is go and add a trade-in. So if you want to go add a trade-in, what you can then do is put in all the details of the trade-in and have that trade-in on this as well. So I've gone and put in all the details. So it's a used Yamaha is the group that it belongs to. Put in all the model and the actual acquisition price. I've set a suggested sale price. I don't have to put that in at this stage. And I put all the other details. I could put in a sale description if I want. I can add that later too, so you don't necessarily have to write your comments here now if you don't want to. So you go done, and then that's gone and added that particular trade-in onto the actual invoice itself. And then you can see about what the balance is. So there's actually a changeover of $7,700, and you can go and do things like print the invoice, for example. Okay, so if we just scroll up here and if we click this button, we can either print or email the invoice. So in this instance, I'll show you what it looks like on an printout. So this has got your details at the top. This will be your logo, for example. You've got the vehicle details, the trade-in, and then the financial details, if you like. So that's the layout of the invoice, so you can print that off and include it, obviously, with the documentation for this particular sale. The other option is you can email it to a customer as well, and you can have a complete template in here of already preset comments and so on that you might have in there. and that's quite simple and straightforward to go and process that and send somebody an invoice. So the next step that we're going to go and do is actually process this, which will take this unit out of stock and we'll put this Yamaha into stock, and it will update the transaction and make it a sale. So it's done. So in this instance, this customer was actually set up as a cash sale, so it's going to take up a payment method, and we're going to go and process that. That could have, of course, been on account. You can go and print your invoice like what we've just done. And by the way, we could have just changed that account type to on an invoice by invoice basis if we wanted to. So you would probably typically do them as account, but that's entirely up to how you want that to work. So if we now go into the unit list, you'll see that that unit is now no longer there. But the other cool thing that you can do in this list is there's all these filters, right? So the filters allow you to do things like, okay, I want to just see used, but I want to see maybe a certain make. I might want to see something like a particular body type, or up until year or certain mileage. I want to see all, for example. So if you notice, all that 30,000 one has come back in. So this one now, its status has been changed to sold, but you can still go back and look at it if you wanted to. And yeah, so you got this really cool filter in here for your list, right? The other option is that you've got this transaction center, and you'll notice that this transaction that we did just a moment ago is in here in our transaction center. So I can open it up, and maybe I might want to reprint the invoice or something like that. All your transactions will be listed here. And so what you can do is you can say, okay, show me only a particular date, show me only a particular one maybe that have got trade-ins on them, show me invoices or credits or quotes. So that gives you that sort of functionality of being able to manage your transactions as you go through. So there you have it. Look, that's just a quick overview of dealership software and some of the functionality. If you want to get some info on the service and parts side, there are videos on that as well. But as you can see, this is a really simple to use but effective dealership management system that will get your dealership streamlined and profitable. Thanks for watching.